Raghunath Srivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana-rahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pradhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रहे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गो ब्राह्मणाहिताय च जगद्धिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूते श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मक्कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपां तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवनारिणं चैतन्येश्वरं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ पवित्रो सर्वावस्थां गतो यस्मै पुण्डरीकाक्षं साम्भ्यन्तरं शुचे। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु। Okay. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis, Dandat Pranam. Welcome to the session. Today, I'm going to talk about the general misinterpretation of Bhagavad-Gita, what people have on the society, or what negative assumptions they carry across in the society about Bhagavad-Gita, and some negative aspects they discuss without even knowing or understanding the actual crux of Bhagavad-Gita. So that's the topic what I've taken today. So there are a list of some items which I have mentioned here, which I'm going to discuss now. The first one is, is about Kurukshetra as a place. We know the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, what it says. Praveen Prabhu, next slide, please. Yeah. So the very first sloka says about the place, the Kurukshetra. Why it is called Dharma Kshetra? Why it is called Dharma Kshetra is being mentioned in the first sloka. So we need to understand when we say Kurukshetra, when the first sloka is goes something like this, where it says, where Dhritarashtra says, like Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsava, Mamaka Pandavascheva, Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. So it's I'm not here to discuss about the first sloka, but general parlance, when we talk about Kurukshetra, we should not consider it as a normal place. चलो आज अपन को समर वेकेशन है, we go to Ooty, Kodaikanal, Shimla. Okay, I think Kurukshetra is nearby, so we'll visit there. So we can't treat this place Kurukshetra as a normal place or a tourist spot. So it should be considered as that it has a very historical relevance. Historical relevance is there for this place. We need to understand that, and there are a lot of pastimes, or there are a lot of history behind that. And we know, like. To prove that this particular place is certainly a place of religion or dharma kshetra, as even Dhritarashtra is aware of the thing that Kurukshetra is a place of religion. Even he is also aware of it. So then there are a lot of situations, there are a lot of pastimes wherein we know, even in this place, I think Manu Samhita was written by Manu. So that is one pastime, that is one incident, historical incident, which has a historical significance belonging to this place. Similarly, we have even, the Kuru dynasty, where Pandavas and Kauravas have come from. Even Kuru, the same place, same place is prefixed with the Kuru. Kuru is a king in that lineage of Kauravas and Pandavas, wherein he did austerity there, and at the same place they did it. And there are a lot of historical references where it is being said that whoever leaves the body there in Kurukshetra will be reaching the heavenly planets. Even that is also mentioned in some scriptural references. So we need to consider that though Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, Kurukshetra has a very important relevance, and it should not be treated as a mere tourist spot. So we need to have that understanding, and we should not go or visit that places with that consciousness that it is another tourist spot, wherein we are going and we are taking selfies and all. So we should have consciousness that here is the place where it has a historical reference. So we need to understand that, and how this particular consciousness carry forward when we are going to such places. Okay, so this is one of the interpretation where most of the people have, it's another tourist spot. So we need to be clear with that. Okay. Now, coming any question on this point, Prabhuji and Mataji? Yeah, silence means no questions. That's good. Let's go to the second slide. Second slide, it talks about Krishna, where Krishna mentions, like there is a sloka in Bhagavad-Gita where he says, yo yam tanum bhakta shraddha yachitu ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tam eva vidadhami aham. So it says, I'm in everyone's heart as a super soul. I'm in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship demigods, I make his faith steady, so that he can devote himself to some particular deity. So that's the faith. Even it's not only about demigods. Even Sachidev, can you go on mute, please? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so it's not only about this, even scriptures or acharyas explain that not only the faith towards demigods, but even for the faith, even the faith towards towards fake babas or even babas or babis. I mean, the faith is given by Krishna himself. So the general parlance, or the people who don't have or not read Bhagavad-Gita at least once, say that you can worship any god we like. So no issues. Krishna also mentioned that you can no need to worship him alone. He can be anyone can worship any god or anyone. So that's what is the understanding what people have. So, but if we refer the related verses in related verses in what do you say, and before this, like this is the 721 verse, which says, I mean, everyone is thought as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod and make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to the particular deity. But to mitigate the understanding what general people have, we need to understand, or we need to understand the slokas before that and after that. So wherein, say, in the 7th chapter, sloka 20, it is mentioned that those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. So, not having, even worshipping not worshipping anyone is better than worshipping demigod in one sense. So that's what even Krishna is stressing here, that those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, those who are craving for material desires, will surrender unto the demigods. And follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. So which they will be worshipping. And if we see sloka number 22, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. It is something, if you are an employee of a corporate company, and there might be some policies, for the very limited policies which might be applicable for some associates. For example, recently I came to know within my organization, where above 40 years of age, the whole health checkup is free in Continental. So similarly, there might be situations, even to avail that facility, we need to approach our manager saying that I am 40 above and I need to avail this facility, and then manager approves it, and then you go. So similarly, if manager is approved, it doesn't mean that manager is having the ultimate authority. It is the CEO of the company who has ensured that these policies are in place. But people with whose intelligence has stolen, that's what Krishna was mentioning, whose intelligence has stolen means those whose intelligence has stolen, they think that my manager only provided your facility. So we need to be clear that Krishna is stressing this point, that whatever the endeavor whatever one person endeavors to worship a particular demigod, obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Even those benefits are also provided indirectly by Krishna himself. So that's what the point is to be made clear. Even the 23rd sloka in the same chapter says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Are the statements of the words which are to be seen with bold. Those who worship demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planets. So by quoting this particular statement in Bhagavad Gita, people might say that God only himself has told that we can worship any god, no need to worship him alone. Actually, very recently, in a week's time, I was having a discussion with one of the family members who have come to our satsang, wherein they are having a very, very rough relation among husband and wife, and he was checking with me, Prabhuji, sometimes I'm feeling that if Krishna and Radha photos are keeping in my room, then it indirectly symbolizes that as Krishna and Radha have not married and never married, and they were separated with whatever the limited understanding he had. They were not never married, so that's the reason why if we keep their photo in our house, we will also be separated. We will also not be, our marriage life would not be fruitful. So that such the understanding people have, if they not read those scriptures thoroughly, and with the mundane interpretation they try to make it, then anyway, that's a separate discussion what I had. But we need to understand this sort of things should be very clear. If we have a clarity on scriptural understanding, these things would be clear. Only we pick up, sometimes we pick up the slokas which suits us. We are attached to something, and we solace ourselves internally. Somewhere in the corner of our heart we know that this is wrong, but we are tuned and comfortable with one kind of activity, and we try to solace whatever we do is right, quoting these things like this. Something like, a police takes a bribe and he thinks that I'm taking bribe only from rich people, or not from the poor or the middle class people, and he solaces himself and he continues with this activity, so which is wrong. So we need to understand that with a proper consciousness, and this is a general one of the second misinterpretation what people have, that Krishna himself said that we can worship anyone. But ultimately, if as they say, picture abhi baki hai. So similarly, this is not the only shloka which we need to refer. We need to understand what is the before this shloka and after this shloka, what are the things actually Krishna has mentioned. We need to understand that. So ultimately, to break this chain of birth, death, and old age and diseases, we need to come out of this. So we need to worship only Krishna, who is the alone who will be able to take us back home, back to Godhead, not any other demigods, because even demigods have are temporary in nature. So we need to understand that. So this is the second misinterpretation what general populace have. Okay, so that's what about the second misinterpretation. What I was saying. Any questions on this second shloka, second misinterpretation, Prabhuji sir, Mataji? Good. We'll go to the third slide. Which talks about, this is a very famous shloka, very famous shloka, which says, 2.47, which says, कर्मण्ये वाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भुर् माते संगोस्तु आकर्मणे. So don't expect any results despite continuously failing. So actually, most of the motivational speakers, okay, coming to the meaning, you have right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Okay, so that's what is being said. But most of the motivational speakers, they quote this this shloka and deviate the general populace. So we need to understand, don't expect any result despite continuously failing. So failing, one time you are failing, don't expect any result. Second time you attempt, like that, if you continue, it is not actually the meaning. So like, similar example, first marriage failed, I took divorce. Second marriage failed, I took divorce. Third marriage failed. Actually, why I quoted second and third time is because personally I have seen in my known circles, third time they are thinking of marrying after taking divorce. And the person whom I have referred is in US. And that's what generally is seen. So, attempt, but don't expect the results. We should understand the verse in a proper sense. So we need to whatever, even the attempts, so whatever the technology it has come, whatever the recent technologies which have come, we need to basically understand that God has provided already all the necessary facilities which are required. And what are the attempts we are making, these are not we might be thinking technologically that we are moving forward, but those are not the actual things. I mean, I can go on quoting a lot of examples here, but we need to understand already God has given a prescribed set of activities. He has given a varnashrama where what kind of nurtured people have to do what kind of work, and is already mentioned. So we need to our primary, people are forgetting the primary goal and only making their temporary things as a permanent goals, like inventions we are doing, tractors, iPhones, all these technologies we are doing. And if we are finding it out, but these are not all solving our permanent problems. These are not all solving permanent problems. So if something is not feasible, so we are trying to trying to invent or discover new things which are not required for ultimate goal. Similar to tractors earlier, ox, cows were used, even in my childhood days, when in villages we see, I used to do farming with the ox when I was an intermediate or BTech. But before that, when my grandpa used to do farming and with the two oxes, and I used to sit between those two oxes. Actually, two oxes were there, and there used to be one small log which was connecting to sow seeds. And on that seed sowing equipment, I used to sit. And that was the culture earlier. Okay, so we need to understand, and once these tractors and all other new technologies have come to improve the farming, then the same ox and cows have been sent to slaughterhouse, which is not the setup which Krishna wanted. So this science and technology and efforts mean these are cheating our last relationship. We need to understand that. So we are trying to only solve the temporary issues, and we are completely forgetting the permanent issues. So, but earlier people used to have the culture of Harikada, and so many harinams happening in places, the villages also. A lot of programs used to happen, but now those are not there, and a lot of people have got attracted to cities, and they went back, and things are slowly going down. So we need to understand that there is a cheating propensity with whatever discoveries or the science and technologies which are trying to achieve. So when everything is used in Krishna's service, that makes sense. So we need to understand what are the efforts, expecting no result, fine, but we need to understand that expecting no result for the activities what we are doing for inventing new things is not the thing what we are looking at. So there are so many scientists who are there who can't provide something which they can never invent. As Krishna said, like Aham Bija Prajapita, he is a seed giving father for all species. But today's scientists, or in future, they can't create a blood, or they can't create a seed as such. So we need to understand that. So we need to basically understand that without satisfying God, we can't be satisfied. So that's the bottom line, what we need to understand, and we should have a awareness that this is a dukkhalayam shashwatam. So that's what is being said. We are looking for happiness at a wrong place. Dukkhalayam is a place of misery. So this is a place of misery where we are trying to look for happiness at a wrong place. So that's what is being stressed about this point, and the people have taken this wrongly, and a lot of motivational speakers have given their own interpretations, which are actually demoniac tendency. Indirectly, it's a demoniac tendency where whatever the so-called motivational speakers, they quote this sloka to move the people away from God, and are encouraging individual effort. Don't expect result, do hard work. Do you with hard work, anything can be achieved. I don't mean that we should not do hard work, but that hard work should be channelized in service to Krishna. In service to Krishna. So that's what is being stressed about in this third misinterpretation, what general people have. Okay. Any questions on this third one, Prabhuji and Madajis?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, you rightly mentioned, a lot of commentators are there, and even sometimes, when I'm walking in my office, also somebody will suddenly say, do your karma. We'll quote this verse and say, you should do your action, not focus on the results.
Yes.
And
yes.
So, are we supposed to even react to them or not, Prabhu? Do we have to? Sometimes I'm very much prompted, to tell them about it, but then I hold myself and I keep quiet.
Prabhuji, if that associate is coming to you in person and they are trying to seek some clarification, probably you can provide. But if he has no faith in God, and as I quoted the earlier example, they quote this the same statement to satisfy their urge sometimes. So sometimes for their own negative thing, they put this statement in front and try to present a goody thing about themselves. Even scriptures it is mentioned. But if the scriptures is mentioned, then why is he not understanding the core message of Bhagavad-Gita, wherein Krishna says that everything we need to ultimately surrender to me. In the basic point itself, is he having an understanding of Jiva and Ishvara? What exactly is God expecting? Are we even trying to make an attempt what God wants, what God thinks? They are not making even attempt to think. But if my suggestion, Prabhu, if he is coming to you one-to-one for a clarification, then I think you can tell Prabhu. But as 10 offenses of devotion is all, if people they have no faith and they are only quoting for fancy, then I think it's not worth spending time with them, Prabhu. But if he's a close associate and if he is having a relationship with you and if he comes to you in person asking the same doubt or for any clarification, I think you need to clarify it, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah.
And that applies also for family, Prabhu?
Family, no, Prabhu. family, I think we as a husband, as a father, it's your responsibility, Prabhu, for making them understand, Prabhu. We can't leave them alone, Prabhu. Sometimes, kids ask, I ask my kids to learn some, bhajans, but they will not be interested. I already learned one or two. Third, you are asking, why are you forcing me? So, okay, how much time? I will be asking ETA. Then she will be saying 1 month. After 1 month, what happened? Nothing. But with family, I think we need to be clear. We need to slowly inculcate things. And if it is for kids, we need to, there are a lot of ISKCON programs going on wherein, kids are being taught Bhagavad-Gita and Bhagavatam sessions. I think earlier, I think Mataji, I don't remember. Her name, she was part of our own satsang. She used to take bedtime stories for kids. So slowly, it's not that we are discussing philosophy there, but we are discussing the pastimes of Lord. So slowly, we have to inculcate or increase love towards Krishna. And surely, Prabhu, it might not show you the results immediately, but in a longer run, when they become elder, it really impacting their subconscious mind if you are trying to tune them from the childhood itself, Prabhu. That is for kids. And for your partner, I think you should stress and you should argue. You should argue and come to a conclusion. See, again, there might be partners where one partner is of no. Again, it depends on the it depends on the increase. I don't know. I don't know what is the correct term to be used, but it depends on the inquisitiveness of your partner. There might be some partners who are completely atheists. Number two, who are completely ritualistic, and there might be some people who are in the middle. They believe the philosophy, but somehow they are not able to follow it. So again, that depends on partner to partner. So these 3 to 4 categories are there. If he is completely atheist, then I think we need to pray and serve them. And I think with service and prayer, Prabhu, at one or the other time, they will surely incline. That's a strong faith. And if you ask me, time, it is a, we need to spend good time. It's not a 1 or 1.5 year program, BTech program, 4-year program that, okay, 4 year, I will serve whatever is required. I will do whatever is thing, then my partner will change. It's not like that. But in this endeavor, you are the person who are going to benefit, Prabhu. Whether the other partner is accepting or following the truth or not, you will be surely get benefited, as Krishna notices each and every endeavor of yours.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay, so this is about the third misinterpretation, what we have. And if we go to the next interpretation is about Bhagavad-Gita and its blunt value judgments. When we say Bhagavad-Gita and its blunt value judgments, we in Bhagavad-Gita we use like say 16.19. It's quoted like, those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, and are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species. So here he's trying, here he is trying you to, we need to understand like what are the words like Mudha, Naradhama. Mudha means fool. Narada means lowest among humans. Ori Yadava. Ori Manshullo Daridruda. Like that, we quote a lot of things. Even in Acharyas also mentioned that Matajis are low in excuse me. Matajis are low intelligence. That also is quoted by Acharyas. But we need to understand the reality, that in reality these are used for compassionate. We need to, when we understand their actual nature, and that's how Acharyas have mentioned. And we need to understand why this is, why they have used these quotations for, why they have used these terms like Muda, Narada, and low intelligent Matajis and all. We need to understand it is only due to sheer compassion. Once we understand the nature of the kid, then only we can cure, right? We need to, we can situate accordingly, right? We can help them. We know the real nature or real situation a person or a person is in. Then if you understand real situation, then only we can solve the problem. If you are going to doctor and not telling that my stomach is not aching, and you want to simply fool around, who is the person who is going to lose? Is the person who's coming to doctor, who is the person who is not hiding the reality, is the person who is losing it. That we need to understand. So when these terms are used, they are used only with the nature of compassionateness. That we need to understand. Okay, so these words, readers might take these words in condemnation, when in reality they are used for compassion. And when if we quote this, ladies are less intelligent, simply if I go in a public forum and quote this, then I don't know, I might be I might be thrown with a lot of chappals and tomatoes. I don't know. So we need to understand when people who quote this, they never refer to scripture. They are not even interested in scriptures. Recently, in fact, 1 month back, I had a discussion with one of the Prabhuji in Vihanga. He was saying, I don't know, Prabhu, you devotees always tell about Bhagavad-Gita is the only ultimate, and you are not open to any other philosophies. And I said, there is no other thing at all. Bhagavad-Gita is the, first of all, you tell me whether you agree that Krishna is a God. He tells that Krishna, he agrees a God. And Krishna is a God. And you agree that Krishna is the supreme personality of God? Yes, he agrees that also. Then what is the problem? Supreme personality of Godhead, you are agreeing. When a word is coming from supreme personality of Godhead, what is the problem in accepting it? I don't know. I mean, actually, I was struggling. Later, we had almost 1 to 1.5 hour discussion from around 8:30 to 10 o'clock. And I given a lot of scripture references and was telling, so whatever the philosophies you are telling, Prabhu, this whatever the philosophies are talking, at the max, these philosophies might have come around 60 to 70 years back only. But this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita has been there time immemorial. This is the CBSE, ICSE, or what are the material education has taught us, that these philosophies have taught us to go away from the God. So that's the point. Finally, I concluded. Luckily, he has not quit the group yet. Fortunately, I think he's still hanging around. But these are the things. But we need to understand, when a father tells something negative, it is only, if a father tells something about kid negatively, then it is only for his good. And yesterday, my kid was in sitting in the park. He was playing cricket, and when I was walking around, I have seen him sitting. Probably he might have played around a lot, and then he sat, because he's little stout. So we expect him to play a lot and sweat out a lot. But when I have seen him, I told him simply with a sarcasm. I told him, "Kuchora, alana kuchonadu." Like that, sarcasm, with a sarcasm, I told. So he felt, "Daddy, Amma, Daddy, annadu," and like that he complained. But we need to understand that whatever a father says, it is only for good of kids. Or even it's not only Supreme Personality of Godhead, and even the spiritual masters with whom we are trying to take shelter. Even if they scold also, it is for our good only. It's not only spiritual Diksha Guru, but also even Shiksha Guru. Whatever he says, we should understand that he says for our good only. Even anything, it might be sounding harsh, and even if he tells publicly also, we should accept. Publicly also, if we should reach to that consciousness that even if your spiritual master, Diksha Guru, or even Shiksha Guru, even if he scolds publicly to rectify something, also we need to avoid with it. So these words come from the basic intention for good for all elements of the world. Only stated as your beloved would recommend you for things to make you realize your mistakes and not to mock. It's not for mocking. Even Krishna sees that whether you are doing it for mocking or you are doing it for correction. We need to understand, when even Shastras, it is said double talk. I mean, it is in Nectar of Instructions. It is being said, double talk. Also, we should not talk negative about him. You can talk negative about a person when you are taking a responsibility to correct him. But if you are not taking responsibility to correct him, why to talk negatively, right? So we should understand that whatever these words, Muda, Narama, Mataji is not intelligent and all, we need to understand in a correct sense, not in a negative sense. Okay. And any questions on this before going to the next one, Prabhuji and Mataji? Okay. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. So next one is about Bhagavad-Gita only for intellects. Bhagavad-Gita is only for intellects. So no matter what a person's IQ is, every human has a certain level of intellect enough to grasp concepts of Gita without misinterpreting them. So, Prabhuji and Mataji, it's not that it is only for intellectuals or so-called high IQ people only have to follow Bhagavad-Gita. I mean, I don't want to name and all, but there are a lot of devotees in ISKCON, where they might be, financially not rich, or they might be doing jobs, menial jobs. Financially might not be rich, or as per the material standard, or as per the material calculation, they are not high IQ people, but they still follow the norms of pure devotional service as well. I have personally seen a lot of devotees having that. So as for the material standard, their IQ might be very less, doing a security job or some other kind of job, which are having a low income. And as for material standard, their IQ is very less. But despite that, they have been following, a lot of devotees have been following the norms of devotional service. And there are, I think, Lilananda Prabhu has quoted several examples wherein an auto driver does Bhagavatam classes every day or every alternate day, and one other devotee who is a security guard, I believe, he does Radayatra in their community once in a week or once in 2 weeks. So it doesn't have any issue with the IQ. So no matter what a person's IQ is, every human have a certain level of intellect enough to grasp concepts of Gita without misinterpreting them. In fact, higher IQ could only mean that you have too much ego to accept the truth stated in Gita. I have personally seen, after, especially in the last 1 to 2 years of preaching, I have seen a lot of Prabhujis saying that, నేను భగవద్గీత 34 సార్లు చదివానండి. Like they say. If you are quoting that dialogue that I have read Bhagavad-Gita 30 to 40 times and I know everything, that means you don't know anything. That we don't know anything. And the same people who have quoted these statements, they said that they say when they come to the session, they say that Prabhuji, at least give some hope-giving statements. No, always negative statements only you are quoting. Give some hope-giving statements. Prabhuji, is it not a hope-giving statement that chant the holy names? Please. It is the easiest to process to realize God and go back home, back to Godhead. Is it not a hope-giving statement, especially in Kali Yuga? Are we doing chanting? Are you doing chanting? If you ask that, no. Then if you 30 to 40 times you have read Bhagavad-Gita, and even Krishna is mentioning at the antakale, at the end of at the time of leaving the body, if you remember me, you will be directly coming to my abode. He himself is quoting, how are you going to develop that consciousness? By chanting only, right? Why are you not chanting? Then there is no answer. So you need to understand that, in fact, higher IQ would only mean that even that person with whom I had an interaction, he is a retired high-level manager, regional manager in one of the banks, I believe. He is also from Viyanga only. Okay, so the thing is, you need to understand, in fact, a higher IQ could only mean that you have too much ego to accept the truth stated in ego. Because once a higher IQ is there, you feel that you are the boss. You are the, my plans work. But they don't realize that ultimately Krishna is the ultimate supreme honor, not you. So Bhagavad-Gita only for intellectuals is not a right statement, but it is applicable for each and every living entity, each and every living being, each and every human being. Okay, so we need to understand that. And Gita is simple, actually. It's a very simple message of love, and anyone reading it from the heart will be able to understand it to the core. Anyone reading with the heart. But now we need to understand what is reading with the heart. Reading with the heart. If you are having a doubt, you need to approach a devotee to check what exactly it means. I understood this sloka, this Prabhu. What is the right understanding? I don't know. Somehow I'm not getting it, Prabhu. Can you understand? So we need to have that inquisitiveness of knowing how to understand also. So that point I wanted to highlight that Bhagavad-Gita is not only for intellectuals, but for everyone. In the contrary to that, there are so many other intellects are there, like CEOs or retired CEOs are in great material positions. Also, devotees are there who follow Bhagavad-Gita and they understand the crux of Bhagavad-Gita, and they plan their spiritual life accordingly. Okay, so that is about Bhagavad-Gita only for intellects. That is the fifth misinterpretation what people have. Okay, any questions on this, Prabhuji and Matajis? Okay, I'll get as no. Now, sixth one is central message. Central message of Gita is unclear. So when I say central message of Gita is unclear, when seriously, when people, will not understand the central thing, how they will understand other stuff? They will just pick up few things and they will try to point out. So Gita is centered on two concepts of Jiva and Ishvara, that is Godhead, that is Paramatma. These concepts are confusing because they tell you things that seem contradictory to the reality. People say that they are doctor or lawyer when they introduce themselves. As for Gita, this is not who you are. All these are only your individual attributes associated with mind and current body. How many will understand this? You know, first of all, we are saying that people with not proper understanding, or even not even read Bhagavad-Gita once, they will obviously say the same thing. It's the same thing as mentioned in 2.20 also, that for the soul, there is neither a birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So that's what is being mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita 2.20. So, people basically forget that we are in current body. We are in this body, and this body might decay in another 10 to 20 years, probably 60 or 70. And after that 70, you are going to the body. But lot of people, I think, I don't know if it is a very optimistic figure or not, or very bad figure or not. Almost 90 to 95% people won't believe that we are having another birth in this material world if we are not into pure devotional service. Nobody. I mean, almost maximum people around the world don't have this basic knowledge. So if we understand we are currently in a body and we are going to take another body also, we are going to take another body. So if you are going to take another, in this body you might be a doctor, next body you might be a hog. We don't know. So this basic understanding is missing, and people pick up from some slokas and try to quote and unquote a lot of things, which is not reality. So all these are only your individual attributes associated with the mind and the current body. So this is the sixth misinterpretation. What people think that central message of Gita is unclear. They quote that it is not clear. Okay, so that is about the sixth misinterpretation. Any questions, Prabhuji and Mataji? Okay, we'll go to the next one. So seventh one is about Bhagavad Gita has a little applicability in current society. So youngsters believe that Gita is ancient and therefore holds no relevance in their lives. So is it true, Prabhu? Prabhu and Mataji, is it true?
No, Prabhu.
Message, okay. Okay. So it is
applicable.
It is applicable, right? Why, Prabhu? How it is applicable?
Whatever may be the age, a person who gets birth, he becomes old. There is a disease, and he has to leave this.
You're right.
Minimum which is compulsory happening.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. You are right, Prabhu.
But we tend to neglect that.
Yes, Prabhu. Youngsters believe that Gita is ancient, therefore holds no relevance in their lives, and completely forgetting that basics of human have not changed since times immemorial. Even times immemorial, there have been relations, there have been interactions, there have been a culture, there have been jobs performed by the people. So this is no way we can't say that it is not applicable in current society. So, but the general parlance youngsters in the current society and the thinking what they are getting from the Western worlds are giving that impression to the people. So it is something like, the sun still shines the same way despite being the most ancient, and similarly, even the time immemorial, the sun has been there then, and sun has been there now, and it will be there in future also. So we have become so mesmerized with the material things around us that we have started, neglecting the universal eternal truth that remains just the same. Universal truth or absolute truth has never changed time immemorial, whether it is Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, or Kali Yuga, or day. So cycle after cycle, Yuga after Yuga. These things have never changed. We need to understand that. So this is the universal eternal truth that remains just the same. So it is still applicable in current society. So without this statement is given by the people who are not having a inclination to scriptures, or don't believe in God, and they are struggling between atheism and theism. Okay, so Bhagavad-Gita has a little applicability in current society, especially living in India. People they wanted to have both the legs in both the boats. Something like our Ajay Devgan, he keeps 2 legs in 2 bikes and travels, right? At least in Western world, they have clarity. I don't believe that's it. But in India, we don't have that clarity, and we try to keep legs in both material and spiritual plane, and try to drive similar to Ajay Devgan in some movie. So, which we should try to avoid and try to know and explore a lot of things in Bhagavad Gita to understand Bhagavad Gita, whether it is relevant or not. Okay. So this is about the 7th misinterpretation what we have. Now coming to the 8th misinterpretation, that is about Bhagavad Gita advocates fight against irreligious people. So many might be believing that Lord Krishna prompts Arjuna to wage violence against irreligious people of the world who are considered to be enemy of all mankind. So people of different faiths around the world have questioned this premise several times. I mean, questioned this premise several times in the sense, they propose, they think that or they propose that if Lord Krishna is the God, should not he have attempted to win the hearts and minds of the irreligious people of the world instead of waging a war? Why he has chosen that option? Why he has chosen that option? That's what even in 4.7 he mentions, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. Sometimes, why that ample opportunities have been given to us. We all in Kali Yuga, if we are there in Kali Yuga, means that only means that we have outright rejected God in all the yugas and all the previous lives in Kali Yuga itself. Actually, during the Hanuman Jayanti occasion, we all, myself, Giriraj Prabhu, Pavan Prabhu, Satya Prabhu, all of us went to have during this occasion of Hanuman Jayanti, we were going in a lorry and we were chanting the holy names, and we were chanting the holy names, requesting everyone to chant the holy names back. And when we were requesting to chant holy names back, some people were seeing seeing us like mad people, seeing us like a mad. Who are these mad people who are asking us to chant the holy names and all? A lot of people have seen, different looks. Who are these people going in lorry, going in a van, beautifully decorated, and asking us to chant the holy names and all? They are seeing us. When myself was looking into them, when we were insisting them to chant by adding different flavors, we made we ensured that no stone is unturned. Okay, so thing is, we made every effort to ensure that they are chanting back. But never, there were people, they never even were simply seeing, but they never chanted. And I thought to myself, that I would have been in the same situation in the earlier lives, where some devotee or someone might have requested to chant, but I have simply seen like them. So that was the feeling when I felt that I also would have been in the same situation in earlier lives, I believe. So, we need to understand that people of different faiths, when ample opportunities have given for us. So when the opportunities are not fruitful, then similarly, God has also given a lot of opportunities, lot of war stopping efforts have been made, but I think the concerned people have not accepted it, and they wanted a war, and that's what Krishna has fulfilled. But it is wrongly taken by the people that God could have avoided. Why he has inculcated violence culture among the people. So that's what people think. But we need to understand that God comes And after ample opportunity, despite multiple efforts being made, if people are it's similar to the kid, we give multiple opportunities to our kids. Even despite that, when they don't hear, then we try to give one right slap. So it's similar to that. Okay, so but these very people must realize that the same Bhagavad Gita inspired a lot of people across the world, like Mahatma Gandhi, who has philosophy of non-violence and made him epitome of peace. He also quotes the importance of Bhagavad Gita. So from the material world's perspective, I'm saying that there are a lot of people, a lot of great people, a lot of materially opulent people also who believe. We have a lot of examples within India itself that they follow the message of Bhagavad Gita. So we need to understand that in what circumstances he advocated. Bhagavad Gita advocates fight against irreligious people. The same thing, I think, in Russia also, without understanding the actual premises, they have put a case against ISKCON, and the case was won later after making them understand what exactly was the premise of it and why it was the war was announced and all. So that is one of the examples what we have seen as part of this misinterpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavad Gita advocates a fight against the religious people. Okay, that's about the misinterpretation. Okay, any questions? Yes, Prabhu. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just one example I want to give, like during Hyderabad temple Radhayatra, ISKCON Radhayatra last time, right? So we were doing the prasadam distribution by taking it in the bucket on the street. Yes, so every time while giving the prasadam, we think that whether this person will have mercy or not. So we almost give the prasadam to their hand. Yes. Some people will just say, oh, no, I don't want to take it. So they'll just reject it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Some people, like, one time the RTC bus driver, he stopped in the middle of the traffic and he got down from the bus, came all the way to us and said, okay, give me the prasadam. So he took the prasadam and he went to there are people like, who was, God's mercy. It's like, they come and take it, but sometimes when we give it to the hand also, they'll say, no, I don't want it.
Yes, Prabhu. But probably, yeah, that's what I was quoting, Prabhu. Probably we also might have been that kind of people in earlier lives, Prabhu. And Prabhu, fortunately, and I don't know, it might be a very advanced topic. It is being said, one of the senior devotees sessions once I heard, the people who are in the tract of Bharatavarsha, at least in India, if not at some point or the other in their lives, they might have taken God's names or God's holy names wantedly or unwantedly, or the proper consciousness or improper consciousness, by simply quoting their holy names, they might be taking birth again in India. I mean, at least that opportunity is being given by taking birth in India, because if we take birth in other countries, there is no hope at all.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, you are right, Prabhu. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. That's what I was saying. We also might have been in that situation sometime. We also some devotee might have tried to give us a prasadam or requested for chanting a holy name, and we might have seen him with a very awkward look. Who is this man? Without having a relation, why is he giving? Something might be mixed in this. We don't know, Prabhu. We don't know. We might have been like that. So luckily, someone might have prayed strongly for us, and we are in here at least trying to understand what a devotee is, what God is, what I at least make an attempt to understand what God is. And we need to understand devotee is a very special kind of breed. Say 0.001% breed, where who never thinks negative of others and always thinks well of others, not only other human beings but also the living entities. There is no other breed in this society who is like that. That is a devotee. That is a devotee. Okay, I mean, at least we are trying to understand what a devotee is. So that's a good that we are in association and we are trying to understand more on that, Prabhu. Thanks for adding that, Prabhu.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, Prabhuji, here, those, no, like we used to hear in our lectures, those people are in Sattva Guna, like they worship everybody. Now, just now you're giving an example of one person. So
Yes.
those who are, brought up in this mentality, like, in a Sattva Guna, where everybody is worshipable. Everyone is worshipable for all long, like maybe if he is a 60-year-old person, that means he has worshipped like that for the last 40 years. And suddenly, one day, we come and say, oh, Krishna is the only Lord. Forget about everybody. That's where the acceptance, like how we can accept, okay, all along last 40 years, I am worshipping Ganesha, Hanuman, Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, everybody.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. They have been worshipping Prabhu. Actually, I mean, I think luckily, I mean, unfortunately, nobody has been blunt with me till now in the last 1 to 2 years. But I can quote an example of one Mataji is there in Aliens. Aliens, our name is Mataji Perendi, USLR. Prafulla Mataji. Prafulla Mataji was there. She was a staunch devotee of Devi, I mean Durga Mata, and we never said that, or we are not disrespecting other demigods. We are telling them to worship. We are not saying that don't worship, but worship the correct consciousness. We need to understand the relationship between gods. As in a family, there is a father, mother, kids, relatives, babai, abbai, and all. And similarly, in an organization, as CEO, COO, HR head, and all, lot of hierarchy is there in organization. Similarly, in gods also there is a hierarchy, and we need to understand that hierarchy. We are not disrespecting any demigod, and we should not be lenient in telling the truth, Prabhu. Truth is this. Now, if you are quoting, we are not saying that you should not worship demigod. You worship demigod, but you should worship a demigod with a proper consciousness. What is it? See, Durga Mata, Maya Devi, please don't disturb me while I am engaged in Krishna service. Please try to engage me in Krishna service. Please ensure that there are no hurdles coming from you. So that consciousness is more important. Going to Maya Devi, and again, as I said, I think earlier also a lot of devotees said Maya Devi's only duty is with devotees only. Because for others there is no, for her there is no effort to spend time. Already they are in Maya, they're happy. And yes, these people, I mean, people would be there with a lot of faith, but you should never compromise in telling the truth. And if they are still arguing, then ask them, what you tell me that if that Hanumanji or whichever demigod, is there any scriptural references where he said that I am the ultimate? Lucky or unluckily, I should say, Prabhu, when similar discussion has come, when I quote this thing, they never came back. Even for Durga Devi from Bhagavatam and all, they talk about, but it's only the people or Shiva, Lord Shiva is ultimate. Only the devotees or the people, they say that Shiva is the ultimate, but there is never a situation where Lord Shiva or Durga Mata themselves saying that we are the supreme. Probably in journey in future, probably there might be more discussions too, but we should never compromise in telling the truth. And when an argument comes, we need to argue in a proper forum like in substance, and we should convince them. I think there is no point where we convince. The scriptures are saying upfront that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. There are no more deviations here. And if people are coming forward, we can discuss about it. And we should discuss in a healthy environment, not in a, not that sense.
So, I always like that one example that you mentioned, Prabhuji, earlier, like in your village,
yeah. Right, bro. Yeah, that Peddanna, bro. Peddanna from our village, he's a woodcutter, right? He stays right in front of my house. And we don't have, when I was a child, we don't have gas stoves and all. We still cook on the, mud pots and mud stoves. On that, we put sticks and cook it. So for that, he need to cut the logs and he used to give. So I was having a discussion with him that you know, we are getting salaries of worth 1 lakh or 2 lakh by only sitting in AC chairs, and without even sweating out one drop of sweat, we are getting 1 to 2 lakhs salary. Then he said that I don't believe, because for all the hard work he does and the sweat he comes out of him, he gets hardly 500 to 600 rupees. But he not believing that there is a place called TCS where they give 1 to 2 lakh salary with AC setup and all. He not believing it doesn't mean that place is not there, but the place is there. So it's similar like that, Prabhu. I mean, we should be clear, especially in this particular doubt, Prabhu, whether Krishna is still a doubt, whether Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead or not. We should be very clear and upfront, tell the absolute truth, Prabhu. Whether they deny or agree, come and discuss. Not a problem.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah, so this is about Bhagavad-Gita advocating fight against irreligious people, and the same thing, the same point, you know. Bhagavad-Gita, I mean, it's been called for violence also. They say, like battlefield setting of Bhagavad-Gita, which is generally used for demonstrating or responsibility and practicality, is many times mistaken for calling for violence. Many had in the past believed that spirituality lies in some outer world other than ours, but in reality it lies right here in real life settings itself. So at the time of Bhagavad-Gita, battlefields were the reality. And so choosing for the backdrop only illustrates its universal application, that we need to understand in all respects, and not the direct connotation of the violence. You know, I mean, it's not. We should not take it in a direct sense. Next slide, too. Yeah, this is about another misinterpretation is vision of God as a destroyer. Vision of a God as a destroyer. I mean, vision of a God, the destroyer, who requested? It's us who requested. You show the universal form. Are you really God or not? It's only we requested, right? So after, in the 11th chapter, universal form of the Lord is described as emitting blazing flames of destruction. Sure, this makes God appear rather ghastly and brutal. Obviously, so the thing is, because in future, in the times immemorial to come, when someone asks, and here is the proof we can show. So that's how Arjuna never had a doubt, but he requested, and that ghastly thing form has been shown by Krishna. Truth is that death and destruction too are inevitable part of our living. Several times, I mean, because we which is inevitable. This death and destruction is inevitable. Anything in the material world, it is destruction is inevitable. We need to understand that. And the destruction of the world takes Arjuna to the beauty of Krishna. Similarly, death and destruction beset the world to lead us to the beautiful eternity as well. So it is something, I mean, without ending a journey, how will you reach a beautiful place? For example, I want to go to Shimla. I mean, we need to end our journey at some point, right? Only after ending our journey, we will going to Shimla. Hey, this journey is fine till going to Shimla. So I wanted to be in the journey itself because I'm enjoying the journey. It is not feasible, right? We need to reach a destination. So if that reaching the destination is nothing but death or restriction of the body. So how many will understand that? So we need to perceive this in a right sense. So vision of God as a destroyer is propagated. People such that it indirectly creates a fear in people. But the intention is not that. Krishna, he should not be worshipped with fear. He should be worshipped with love. With love. And the devotees who experience the love, I mean, it is, I don't know whether the word is there, unmatchable. Unmatchable. It is unmatchable, Prabhu. When you seriously connect Krishna, you will It is inexplicable. Whatever the experience or the people or devotees, pure devotees, they go through. Sometimes they will be going externally for other people. It might be appearing that why is this devotee is foolish? Why this devotee is taking doing extreme things, not in his capacity. Sometimes you might feel, but who knows what the relation between him and Krishna happening within himself. So that we should understand the importance of the connection between Krishna and us. If once we understand or worship him with love, we will understand. But with fear, if you do, you will not understand. That's what a devotee is. Devotee loves Krishna unconditionally, despite any material calamity happening in and around him. But are we having that strength? Are we having that patience to choose Krishna still, despite having calamities around us? It is something to introspect, Prabhu. It is something to introspect within ourselves. Anta bhagundi, anta manam pure devotion service, something happens in our life, then Krishna. In fact, again an example. Actually, with this preaching activities going on 2 residential communities, I have seen a lot of examples. One Mataji, his father was a pujari, and he got, he used to do a lot of preaching activities, and he got Pakshavatam at a later stage, and he died before her marriage, and from that time onwards, she has lost faith in God. Luckily, but somehow, I don't know, due to her father's smriti or not, I'm not sure, but somehow she's coming to sessions. Are we ready to accept? I mean, everything is fine. That's the reason why I'm accepting Krishna. But are we ready to accept Krishna despite all the calamities happening around us? We need to have a serious introspection, Prabhuji and Mataji. Serious introspection. That is a testing time. That is the time. That is the time when you still hold on Krishna. We will still do 16 rounds. Will you still attend satsangs? Will you still retain the association of devotees? Will you still come to yatras? That is the time. That is the testing time, Prabhu. Great devotees like Kunti and a lot of devotees have proven, time immemorial have proven that despite calamities, they have never left Krishna. So, but the vision of God should not be as a despair, but vision of God should be the loving father, as a loving friend, as a loving lover, world famous lover. It's not only this world, all the world's lover, famous lover. He is the world famous lover, not the guys who are taking movies. Okay, this is about the vision of a God as a destroyer, is a general notion what people have, which we need to be clear about it. Any questions here, Prabhuji and Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mahesh Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. No, Mataji. Tell me,
Mataji. What I experience is, it is the faith.
Yes,
always we should have some faith, but we too did not have so many faith. I was also working as a manager. When I don't get the promotion, though I deserve, in my opinion, I deserve this one. Yes. And I never thought that somebody might have fared very well than me. We don't think like that. It is our ego, isn't it?
Yes, Mother.
It is our some destiny that each and every living entity is different in himself or herself. Yes, but we have to come to that understanding. That understanding should be there. Yes, and now I know, oh, this happened because of this. And so many good things, without our knowledge, it happened. Yes, I built a house when I was 65 years of age. I took that construction work. Everybody told, oh, you are 65 years, why should you take that? But somehow God made me that. Krishna, I was so successful. My daughter was there in Hyderabad, my son in America. But who helped me? Yes. Of course, I could take the suggestion over phone. That's all, isn't it? All the time they can't come here and all. Everybody say, oh, you have done. Then I understood. It is not me.
Yes.
It is Krishna, he has helped me.
Yes.
It was
Yes,
my,
Mataji.
it was my, it was my want. I want a house. I want to be in my own house because I had and I sold it. Everything happened. Even then. So
Mataji.
that understanding and faith makes us.
Yes,
In this connection, one story
Yes.
I wanted to, when I read in one WhatsApp, that we know, in circus or some people, they walk on the small thread, very thin thread they walk.
Yes, yes, yes.
That too, one person went, he took his 2-year-old son on his back and he walked. It was a very small, it was a very big distance also. He walked twice, thrice, so many times he walked. So everybody was telling, unbelievable, it is unbelievable, like that, so many people told. Then that person came. So you all are telling, telling that it is unbelievable, nobody can do this. Do you really believe in me? Yes, yes, it is really, we believe. Then he asked, can in this group, anyone, you please give me your child. I will take and I will go like that. Everybody was kept, everybody kept quiet. Nobody was there today. Then he told, you don't have faith in me. You don't have faith in me. There is a difference between belief and faith. Belief is, we can believe everybody. But when it comes to the faith part, nobody believes. And that faith we should have in Krishna. Then everything goes. And what all he gives, and we should, at least after going through so many scriptures and all, we should know that Krishna's plan is the best plan. And he does everything good for us.
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
That's what I feel.
Absolutely, Mataji. Absolutely, actually, perfectly pointed, Mataji. But Mataji, there are a lot of people, even PhD holders, or a lot of great people. Material education wise, they might be top cons. They might be tops. But the thing is, they still believe that they are the ultimate. I have seen personally a lot of people with a lot of material opulence. Once their plan is not going as per their thought process, then they have gone to depression also. I have seen such cases also, Mataji. I mean, that's what, when once their plan fails, they get disturbed. That's only their ego only, as you rightly mentioned, their ego only.
Yeah. That's the thing. And we should be very proud. In ISKCON, so many highly educated people, even Bhakti Shastri, who is doing Nectar of Devotion, he was a doctor. Isn't it? He has come to me, he knows all the material of happiness, material benefits, he knows it. Even then he came to this, means there is something like that.
There is not something, Mataji, there is everything here only. Not something, everything.
Something very, which is not in material thing. That's what
you are right.
That we have to understand. And we have to balance the things. But everybody cannot come like that. Because all the Gruhatas cannot become sannyasi or Maharaja, because of that. Even Krishna doesn't want it. And he is very merciful to Grihasthas. Even if he take a vow that I am going to chant 16 rounds, he will be very happy. At least 20% of his mercy he will give it off, because he has taken a sankalpa, he has made a sankalpa that he will chant. So for some purpose or not, we may not. Today we can't chant 16 rounds. We might have chanted 10 rounds. Then we have to directly go to Krishna, standing in before him. So this was the problem. It was my fault only. Please forgive me. Please bestow mercy on me. Tomorrow I can chant. And that faithfulness and this thing, that will really help. That's what I feel. It is my experience also.
You're right, Mataji. You're right. Thanks for sharing, Mataji.
Okay.
So this is what Prabhuji and Mataji, we vision of a God as a destroyer, that's what atheism is propagated by most of the people. But actually, how much lovable God is, if we are trying to, people are not even making to attempt to know how lovable God is. That's a sorry state, but this is another misinterpretation what people have, where God is a destroyer and he's a villain, and he's only there to take our lives. So which is wrong. Last slide is Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Just one question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhu.
I mean, just now we talked about faith versus fact. A lot
Yes.
of people, I think this is a very thin line here, Prabhuji. See, when we say because we believe, that's why we are accepting it. But some people, for example, recently one of my friend came from US. He has 3 master's degrees. He has done MSc, MS, and MBA, and he's like Orthodox Brahmin family. But he's an atheist. I was shocked to hear. He's my childhood friend, and he does puja in the house. And he told me that why are you? And when I asked why are you doing puja? No, just because my family culture is like that. I don't want to, skip that. So I'm just doing it, but I'm not a believer of this. So then I argued with him for almost like 3 hours. But he said, okay, I don't, this is your belief system. I agree with your belief system, but that's not a fact. So should we say it's a fact or a faith? It's very difficult to explain. Like, okay, because our faith is this, that's why we believe it. Or is it a fact? Krishna is the supreme God. Is it a fact or a faith?
It is, there are a lot of people, when we ask them, in fact, there are different category of people where, in our apartment, I had a discussion with one Prabhuji, who is a good, materially is a general manager of one company. And when asked, what do you think of Krishna and Bhagavad-Gita? These are mythological figures. Actually, these are not real figures. These are not real figures. They are just mythological figures. Just to inculcate some morals within us, they have been introduced. But in actuality, never Krishna existed, and Bhagavad-Gita and everything is just to keep us under in check. It is not a word of mouth. I mean, that is the impression. One kind of category is that. And there are some another kind of category where people say that Krishna was there. Yes, he was there. Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita. You believe? Yes, he has spoken. They believe. And has Krishna spoken Bhagavad Gita? It is 100% right. Do you believe whatever he said is right? Yes, it is right. Then what is the problem in following? No answer. No answer, Prabhu. Actually, Prabhu, this Mataji has given a wonderful example. Actually, that example is a wonderful, that belief and faith. We need to get, Prabhu, we need to somehow put our leg. When we experience that faith, really strengthens a lot, Prabhu. Externally hearing, for example, before 5 years, every year we used to go to Tirupati. That was the culture. Because Venkateswara Swami is our Kula Devata from family perspective. So every year we used to go. So indirectly or directly, we used to worship Krishna. But with no proper understanding, we used to do. Whatever lot of regulations we used to break earlier before coming to ISKCON. But after getting an understanding also, if you are not changing, then if even despite these many proofs, these many scriptures given, and people around you or devotees around you, still if you are not changing, Prabhu, then if the faith is not strengthened to believe, then something we need to introspect, Prabhu, strongly.
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, that's the only thing. When I try to argue with these people, how can I say that it's not a belief, it's a fact?
Prabhuji, if they are coming to you, Prabhuji, believe me, don't discuss in group, Prabhu. Don't discuss in group. When a person, as I answer to Nasiman Prabhu, if they are coming to you one-to-one and they are interested in discussing, believe me, Prabhu, I have been part of the discussion, and after some time, it was just a time pass discussion for them. It was not a serious discussion. First of all, they are not interested. And if they are really interested, Prabhu, they will come to you one-to-one to know more details. But in a group, better not to discuss, Prabhu. It is just a time pass, Prabhu. No, it is not even a win-win situation. It is a loss situation for both of you. You are simply wasting your time, and he is having a good time pass.
Yeah, Prabhu, true. Yeah, I mean, actually, he personally called me when we spoke almost for 3 hours, and finally the discussion ended saying that he agreed that let me come to a human platform, because I told him one sloka in our Ahara Nidra Bhayamaidmancha Samani me Tashmikaranam. That means they are all animals. Animals have same tendencies. Okay, then let me come to a human platform, then I can think of God. Let me come to here. So that's where he ended saying that let me become human first, and then I'll try to understand God.
And then you should have told that first become human then. You first become human, and then we'll have a discussion then. Mere having human body and behaving like a animal won't suffice now. Actually, this was a hard-hitting thing for me also initially, Prabhu, but that's what it is. We can't deny whether you accept it or not. This is a fact. Yeah, most of us are humans in the animals in the form of humans.
Prabhuji, so in that case, we should tell 1 or 2 times. After that, if people are not have faith or belief, right, we should come out the discussion, or we should not ask again that person, because otherwise it is a 9th offense to tell the faithless person. Is it right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. That's what it's I also used to do with enthusiasm earlier. A lot of discussion I used to do, but later I realized it's unnecessary time waste for me, and actually it's a win-lose situation, because I lost my time, but other opposite party won because he's having a wonderful time pass. So better to be cautious, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. He's one of my best friend actually. So I can't even imagine like he's thinking about like that. So I want to try as much as possible to make him come to Krishna.
Prabhuji, best friend also, Prabhu. He can be best friend, but recently when last week I went to Guntur, we had a reunion of my friends. Wherein almost 20 to 20 people of us we met, and in that almost 5 to 7 of my friends are Brahmins. Some people told me, "Entra bhaktilo deep digipoyavandra," and like that they commented me that you have completely indulged yourself deeply in devotional service. What's happening? Are no brahmanuve kadra, no దేవుడికి దండం పెట్టుకోవా అని అడిగా. అంతే, నేను అదే చేస్తున్నాను అని చెప్పా. సో అదేనండి ప్రభు, ఎంత వాళ్ళంతా ఫ్రెండ్సే, మళ్ళీ మాట్లాడుకుంటాం ఇది చేస్తాం అని. ప్రభు ఒక గీత బెటర్ ప్రభు. వీ నీడ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఏ లైన్ డౌన్ ప్రభు. I think I don't know what kind of relation you share, but we can have a discussion offline, Prabhu.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the last slide is about this. There are few more misinterpretation. We can go on. Gita accused of being extremist. Gita accused of being extremist. As I told, the Russia, they have quoted, Russian critics have quoted that Gita is racial, religious, and social intolerant scripture. All this was due to the misinterpretation. So that's already cleared it. And Gita is only a matter of belief. So there are some people believe that Gita is a text for the believers and not something one can understand, get a value from. That was the message what most people try to propagate. If you are to be a true student to the Gita, it is essential that one validates the words of the text. Are you having that inquisitiveness to validate what Krishna has said? By contemplation and reflection, by speaking with devotees and all, they will never take that effort. They draw their own conclusion and they leave it there, not even interested whether my interpretation is right or not. So Gita removes our illusions about life, and that can only be done with the knowledge, and knowledge is not purely a belief but based on reasoning and understanding. That we need to understand. Okay. So when like that, there are so many people, in a real lifetime also, people say that Krishna himself has played politics. What is wrong in there? I will also play politics. Krishna himself has taken saris of gopis. What is there? I will also misbehave with the girls. So like that, there will be lot of things, Prabhu, lot of things. It is unnecessary time waste to discuss with them. But these misinterpretations are wrong once we understand about the person, Krishna. Okay. So with this, I wanted to stop the session, Prabhu. But let me know, Prabhu, even for my own learning, if any other misinterpretations are there, which I have missed, I would be glad to know. With this, I am ending the session, by the way.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Any questions, Prabhuji? Any questions or queries or any other misinterpretation which I have, I have missed it. Most people use it in the outside world. Have I missed anything like that? It is for my own understanding too. I was just saying, I try to collaborate as many things as possible, but these are the maximum things. But let me know if anything I have missed.
We all are learning, Prabhuji, so there will be no misinterpretation.
Luckily, it's a good platform. Even whatever the mistakes also we make, devotees like you accept, Prabhu. Outside world is not like that. Yeah. That's it, too. Prabhuji and Mataji, thank you very much. I don't know if Lilananda is there or not.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, Mahesh Prabhu, for the class. It's really a different perception, very interesting topic. Little of a refresher from Bhagavatam, I guess.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
I know it's not a core. I know it's meant to be a Bhagavatam session, but somehow I have talked about Bhagavad-Gita only today. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Mahesh Prabhu. Very
Hare
nice,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
very nice class.
Thank you.
Which is a real good class, because typically these are things that we need to talk about to people, or like we need to realize ourselves first, before we're talking. And one more thing I keep hearing from people. The Bhagavad-Gita ippudu endukamma ippude kada just job lo join ayyamu or like chaala time undi 60 years we'll do it. My cousin, I tried to convince him, like some last 5 years I'm convincing him to buy a book. బుక్లవి ఎవరు చదవరు, బుక్లు చదువుతారు. ఇప్పుడు ఎందుకు 60 years తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు టైం ఉందిలే తర్వాత టైం. People say that I have time. Why to do that? Like, you're wasting time. Why don't you focus on your job? Do well your job. A lot of things to do, a lot of things to enjoy, a lot of places to see.
Yeah, I think I forgot to add this misinterpretation. That's a good point.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just to tell, I also had the same thought process before coming to KC. I used to think these people are wasting time going to temple every day, doing all this. Why are they not working? They're just lazy people. So I just not. Somehow somebody prayed for me and I'm here, but that's the regular thought process I had too.
మీరే అలా అనుకున్నారంటే నేను ఎలా అనుకుని ఉంటానో ఆలోచించండి.
Everybody has their own realizations and everybody has their journey. But one thing is, Prabhuji, one thing that I came to understanding is you yourself cannot convince anybody, Prabhuji. Krishna has to come into their hearts and convince them. You should try, but I used to break my head a lot, and I used to talk to a lot of senior devotees, and one thing they told me very clearly is you yourself with your own endeavor cannot convince a single soul. Krishna has to do that for you.
Yes.
You don't have that power, and it's up to their realization and their thing they need to change. It's all these classes, these sessions, chanting, everything is for my own thing, Prabhuji. It's just for my own thing. I'm not there, and there's a lot of journey to go. It's just for me. Everything. Yes. That's one thing I really realize a lot, Prabhuji.
Yes, sir. You're as rightly mentioned, Prabhu. Seriously, that is very true, Prabhu. Actually, sometimes when I use this point, I used to accept, but it never used to sink in me. Actually, this point of, we are only mere a catalyst. We as a person can't influence. It is only Krishna who can do that. That point very recently only, when probably 1 or 2 years back only, it has really perpetually penetrated into a DNA. That it is not us who is doing it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It is only Krishna. We only can be mere a catalyst in Krishna's efforts, and later it is between Krishna and that devotee, Prabhu. It's not.
Yes.
It's not as that. Never it was actually.
Yes,
We can
Prabhuji,
only be the catalyst in his plans, but not anyone else.
100%. That even for me it took a long time, because I used to break my head. That individuality mentality that I can do anything didn't go for me for a long time. That's something that it take a long time for me to understand. Yeah. Thank you for your refreshing class. Very nice. Nice summarized points. A lot of examples that you give that really you connect with a lot of audience that way. Excellent class, as usual. There is no. We all look forward for your classes anyway.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Dandavat Pranam. Vancha kalptarubhyascha kripas vidyapatanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo anantakoti vaishnavadandi ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.